not all dairy is created the same. I think that we're the first ever to ultra-filter milk from A2 cows.
Yeah.
It's never been done before. And what does that mean? It means it has a higher protein level, a lower sugar level. This brand, Pioneer Pastures, really wants to change the health of this country and has the product and the people behind it to do it.
You're listening to Be Well by Kelly LeVeque. Jeff Mroz, former Yale and professional quarterback turned health-focused entrepreneur, is the founder of OWYN, which became an industry-leading plant-based protein brand before it was acquired in 2024. Earlier this year, Jeff launched a new company, Pioneer Pastures, creating the world's first A2 ultra-filtered milk and A2 protein shakes. Pioneer Pastures is sold nationally in Target, Sprouts, and on Amazon. Pioneer Pastures does not use seed oils or any artificial sweeteners and is built on an ambitious mission to meaningfully change mass metabolic health through better-for-you accessible A2 dairy products. It's a pleasure to welcome Jeff to the show. My new amino acid supplements come in flavorless and lemon water, and they're flying off the shelves, and here's why. I have meticulously sourced these vegan fermented essential amino acids from Japan. I am so proud of this being made the Be Well way, with maximum quality and minimum ingredients. My flavorless is simply those vegan fermented essential amino acids from Japan. Our lemon water contains minimal ingredients of only organic lemon powder, organic citric acid, and organic monk fruit. No natural flavors, no artificial flavors, no artificial sweeteners, no emulsifiers, no additives. This is simply that nutrition targeted for your goals. If you want to give my Be Well protein or aminos a try, or restock it if you're already loving it, take advantage of my gift for podcast listeners. Code PODCAST10 is going to get you $10 off just for being a listener. Write it down and shop with me after you listen. I have to tell you about something that's completely changed my daily routine, AG1. As a busy mom juggling school drop-offs, after-school activities, and sports practices, it's the one simple thing that helps me feel one scoop ahead of everything life throws me. Since starting AG1, I've noticed steady energy, better digestion, fewer supplements cluttering my counter. Its antioxidants, probiotics, and functional mushrooms help keep my immune system strong, while superfoods and B vitamins give me balanced energy all day. No crash, just focus. But winning my mornings really starts the night before. Sleep is everything. If I don't get it, my day feels off. That's why I'm so excited about AGZ. AG1's new nighttime drink. It's melatonin-free and formulated with adaptogens, herbs, and minerals to help you fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up feeling refreshed. I drink it about 30 minutes before bed. Warm with water, and the chocolate flavor is my favorite. It's delicious, relaxing, and the perfect way to wind down after a full day. I use AG1 in the morning or midday and AGZ at night, and you should too. To simplify your wellness routine and feel your best all day, head to drinkag1.com/bewell for a free welcome kit with the AG flavor sampler and a bottle of vitamin D3 plus K2 when you first subscribe. That's drinkag1.com/bewell. Jeff Mroz, you're here finally. I'm so excited. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, Kelly.
Well, I did an intro so people know. You're the founder of Pioneer's Pastures. You sold OWYN. You played at Yale and in the NFL for football. You have just such an interesting background. And as an entrepreneur, I respect your journey. It's just really cool to see. And you're also married and a dad, and you've got, land in Montana, and you're sort of living this life I would love to live, where I get on Redfin and search homes in nature and that whole bit. But I just want to thank you for taking the time and flying out here and having this conversation, because I think it's an important one.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, let's start with your background, because it's super interesting. Can you tell me a little bit about who you are and what got you into sports and sort of how that informed your entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I grew up in Pittsburgh, a family of football players. I have two brothers. We all played high school, college. I played professionally. My dad played in college. So it's kind of a way of life. And football is very much kind of like what you do in Pittsburgh. Yeah. And I was fortunate to have that opportunity to play. And kind of the entrepreneurial journey came in many respects because at an early age, we would go to my grandmother's house quite a bit, and she would make this pink lemonade.
Okay.
And this pink lemonade was so good. And I once watched her make it, and she'd pull out this kind of big tub of Crystal Light and just pour in a bunch of scoops. Yeah. Take some spoons and put a bunch of sugar in there and mix it up, throw the ice in there. And we just drank so many of these cups of pink lemonade.
Yeah.
And oftentimes after I would drink it, I would get a migraine. I would kind of start seeing the white spots, and then the headache would come, and like, oh man, kind of worth it, kind of not, because it was pretty good.
Yeah.
But it was an awareness at an early age of what I ate and what I kind of drank could impact how I felt.
Mm-hmm.
And I also remember we had a lot of family in the Pittsburgh area. So aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, my brothers, we would all get together for Thanksgiving. And one Thanksgiving in particular, I remember a great lively conversation around the table, followed by the dinner being done and everyone kind of going to their chair or their couch watching football, and then everyone like chin to chest falling asleep.
Yeah.
And I made the comment like, why is everyone sleeping? Everyone's just like talking, having a great time. And then like a few minutes later, everyone's falling asleep.
Yeah.
And someone made the comment that it's the tryptophan in turkey. I'm like, the what? Yeah. And so, oh yeah, the protein in turkey makes people sleepy and tired. Yeah. So there's always this kind of awareness around kind of food and nutrition that I was always curious about. And as I continued to advance from high school to college to professionally, I wouldn't say I was like the most talented player on the team. Mm-hmm. So for me to be competitive, I needed to be as prepared as I possibly could be. And prepared to me meant what I do in the weight room, what I do kind of for film study, and then also nutrition was a huge part of it. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to make sure I could feel as good as humanly possible every single day. And now I'm a dad. Like you said, I have 3 kids. Our kids are about the same age as yours. And I no longer just kind of see life through my eyes. I see life through their eyes, and I see what they're being exposed to. And it's in many ways things that, as a parent, we want to do the best we possibly can for our kids. Mm-hmm. And I see what they're given after their soccer games, and I see what they're given after their football games and basketball games, and I see what they're exposed to at school for nutrition, and I see what they're kind of given at birthday parties. And really, we got to do better, which is kind of like a real, I guess, reason why I've always been very fascinated personally around nutrition and kind of food and beverage. And then also now it's through kind of a different lens of our kids.
Yeah. It's amazing how passionate your kids will make you and how you have so much clarity in regards to like your purpose and how you can enact change. I'm specifically feeling that with the fact that I'm writing my 3rd book about kids' nutrition and like really having better boundaries for our kids when it comes to sugar. And, that's how we were connected. You're a part of that. So you started Pioneer Pastures. And I remember having a conversation when I was thinking about getting involved in your business and promoting it. And from the standpoint of being an investor and just excited to champion your brand, was the chocolate milk piece. Can you talk a little bit about liquid sugar for kids and how chocolate milk plays a role in that?
For sure. Well, I think it's also important to understand like just the general landscape that we're living in now.
Yeah.
And it's a metabolic health crisis.
Totally.
And I think COVID in many respects exposed us in that 2 out of 3 adults are either overweight or obese. Mm-hmm. And that over the last 3 decades, the childhood obesity rate has nearly tripled. Mm-hmm. And as we kind of think of COVID in particular, one moment stuck out to me that kind of really made me open my eyes and say, we got to do better than this. Mm-hmm. And that was the second wave of COVID was Omicron. And December 16th, 2021, the FDA put up on their Twitter feed a piece of pepperoni pizza being dipped and swirled in chocolate. Mm-hmm. I remember thinking, wow, like this is such an uncertain time. Mm-hmm. And this is who we're going to for kind of guidance and advice. And this is what they felt like was important to highlight. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of formative. And then soon after that, my wife and I heard a statistic that the #1 most consumed product in our school system, do you know what it is?
Chocolate milk.
Chocolate milk.
Only because of you.
1 billion cartons of chocolate milk are consumed every single year in our school system. And if you think about who's consuming it, it's a kid coming to school, oftentimes on an empty stomach. Mm-hmm. And it's federally regulated that these are fat-free milks, can't have fat in them, and they have 25 grams of sugar. Mm-hmm. So they're taking 25 grams of sugar with no fat first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, and it's just going to send their blood sugar on a huge spike. Mm-hmm. So for the first hour or 2 of school, they're going to be bouncing off the walls, and then the blood sugar spikes. Mm-hmm. And then kind of they're irritable, they're cranky, they act out. Yeah. And oftentimes, as a snack, they're given a second carton of chocolate milk, which continues to go. So we just saw this and realized there's no way we want our kids growing up in this environment. Yeah. We have the ability to create a chocolate milk that has 75% more protein, 75% less sugar, no added sugar, all natural ingredients. And if we can get that, there's not one single thing, at least in my power, that I can do to impact the health of this country more than that.
I mean, it's amazing to me that it just speaks to you and your wife's like manifestation and like entrepreneurial spirit and like just being willing to take on something so big, because not every day that a couple looks at one another and goes like, let's start a dairy company that has less sugar, that's regenerative, that's A2 and less inflammatory, and let's go get on shelves so every American can get access to this. Like, kudos to you. Big goals. That was like a marathon and you're like making your way through, the end. But can we talk about like how that idea, that like chocolate milk realization turned into Pioneer Pastures and like what it is, where you source, why you source the way you source, kind of like your rabbit hole that led to a huge company?
I think part of it is, what is my purpose in life? Like, what do I want to do? What do I want to be known for? What impact do I want to have? What do my kids what legacy, could exist? And for me, it was, this is my 10,000 hours. 10,000 hours. I've spent so much time in nutrition, and it kind of like all has culminated where I can have a huge impact. And as I just looked at the macro landscape, and I'm just seeing all these different drugs coming out, I'm seeing initiatives by different government agencies, I'm seeing politicians, like that's all great. I love it. But the biggest impact in this country from a health perspective is what retailers decide to put on their shelves and what they don't put on their shelves. Because if you have people that are fit, they don't need the drugs. And if you have people that have access to healthy food, then this stuff doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So we had the ability to create something at a mass level, and we launched it nationwide into Target. We had a very good relationship with Target. They've been a wonderful partner, and they truly wanted to lean in and say, we want to be part of your journey to make this kind of country a much healthier place.
Yeah.
So once we kind of realized that the retailers reciprocated kind of what we were thinking in terms of this can be a pretty powerful health product, then it was like, how can we actually create a supply chain that can scale like this? Because dairy is very, very hard and way different than anything I've done before. So as we started to kind of map out the landscape, we needed farms of a certain size that we could actually get enough milk from to service Target. And we didn't want to just be a regional brand. We didn't want to be kind of a brand that was only going to do well in some kind of high-end retailers.
Yeah.
You mentioned the word access, and accessibility is a big word for us. We want people to be able to buy it where they shop.
Yeah.
And whether it be in this grocery store or in a coffee shop or a gym or wherever it might be, we want to be where they are.
Yeah.
So the other part of accessibility, you mentioned kind of the A2 part, is there's a lot of people in this country who are A2, they can't have A1 milk, can only have A2, and they're lactose intolerant.
Yeah.
So how can we create something that is accessible from a consumption standpoint, isn't going to cause GI distress, and can truly provide nutrition for people?
So what's the difference between A1 milk and A2 milk?
So all mammals produce one type of milk. Humans produce one type of milk, goats, sheep. Cows produce two types of milk.
Yeah.
But once upon a time, thousands of years ago, cows also produced one type of milk, just like all the other mammals. And then a genetic mutation occurred because of farmers trying to kind of create a more economical situation for farms and cows and milk. And that genetic mutation introduced the A1 beta-casein protein, which deviated from the traditional A2. So despite it being A1, it actually came second. A2 came first. And the difference refers to the protein structure in milk.
Okay.
And doesn't sound like a lot, but actually what happens whenever the milk is digested kind of showcases what exactly the difference is. So whenever milk from this genetically mutated cow, A1, is digested, it creates an opioid peptide response. So in other words, it's kind of like a protein fragment that gets kind of released in the stomach. And it's that protein fragment that many think causes the GI distress, the bloating, the bowel issues, some of the inflammation. That doesn't exist in milk from A2 cows.
I choose Function because it gives you access to powerful health data most people never get, and clear, actionable insights to guide your next steps. You can test 100+ biomarkers a year, including hormones, toxins, and inflammation. That's 5 times more than the average annual physical, with no gatekeeping or long wait times. You can also add on MRIs or CT scans that look for signs of hundreds of conditions. Traditional healthcare can leave you with more questions than answers. That's why Function goes deeper, revealing a more detailed view to your own health. I personally love Function because it's so easy to pick the labs that you want to have done, schedule your Quest Lab blood draw right in the app, and get reminders of when you have to be there, and then get those results immediately uploaded into the Function platform so that you can check in on your health. And then as you get those blood draws, a couple per year, over the years, you're able to track those changes over the long run all in one place. And that makes keeping track of your health so easy. And it also motivates you to make changes and follow all of their tips and tricks for really getting your health back on track. So if anyone's looking for a functional health experience without having to pay functional MD prices, this is exactly where I'd start. Now you can learn more or join by using my link. Function is the new essential health check, and my first 1,000 listeners get $100 credit towards their membership. So visit www.functionhealth.com/BeWellByKelly or use gift code BeWell100 at sign up to own your health. So you've probably seen on my Instagram stories that my favorite new beef stick is actually not beef at all. It is wild harvested axis deer from Maui, made by the company Maui Nui. Now, not only do I love the sustainability of this product and the company itself and what it's doing for the island of Maui, but I love the taste. I don't get that greasy mouthfeel. I get 9 grams to 10 grams of protein per stick, depending on whether I choose the original, which is slightly sweeter, or the peppered, which gives you that spice that you're looking for from a beef stick. But they just launched their newest product, which is their summer sausage. Maui Nui's Always Summer Sausage is the cleanest, most nutrient-dense lunch meat on the planet. It's crafted from that 100% wild harvest axis deer from Maui, and it's seasoned with Hawaiian red sea salt and pink peppercorn. It's exactly what I feel good feeding my kids in their lunchbox. It tastes incredible, it fuels performance, and it does good for the planet. And if you want to try Maui Nui, either their beef sticks that our family is now obsessed with or their newest product, the Always Summer Sausage, you're going to want to go to MauiNuiVenison.com/Kelly. Again, that's MauiNuiVenison.com/Kelly before it sells out. And when you're asked about how you heard about Maui Nui, make sure you mention Be Well by Kelly LeVeque. It really helps support the show, and I want them to know how many amazing families I am sending their way for that sustainable wild access deer that is a lean source of quality protein and delivers far and above the nutrients that you would get from a beef stick. Now, there's another reason why they're different. There's no sugar, they're gluten-free, there's no junk, there's no fillers. Like I said, 98% lean. In this specific summer sausage, there's 20 grams of protein and only 110 calories per serving. It's remarkably delicious, light smoky flavor. And I remember going to the mall with my mom and getting like a circle slice of sausage on a stick. This is that nostalgia, but from a better for you company. So go check them out, MauiNui.com/Kelly. And so A2 cows were our traditional cows before this genetic mutation happened. When it comes to like goat and sheep milk or human breast milk, what type of protein is that?
That's A2 milk.
Exactly. Okay, so when you decided to start Pioneer Pastures and make A2 milk exclusively available to the population, how hard was it to get your hands on only A2 milk?
Very hard. Not only just the pool of milk, but we also have to ultra filter it and we have to bottle it all within about 48 hours.
Okay.
So it's a logistics nightmare. It's probably the single hardest supply chain in all of food and beverage. You can't freeze it.
Yeah.
And it has to be done within 48 hours.
So, wow. Okay. So talk to me about sourcing and then why are you filtering it? Like I'm seeing this theme and I know our audience is too. Like, why are people filtering milk? Like, what is it doing? What are the benefits?
Filtering is the easiest way for just a casual listener to understand. Is kind of like thinking about milk being passed through a cheesecloth, essentially.
Yeah.
And what we're doing is kind of passing it through filters to concentrate the protein and reduce a significant amount of the sugar. So the resulting product is a milk that's 75% more protein and then 50 to 75% less sugar than normal milk.
So if you were to have a glass of Pioneer Pastures A2 milk, how much protein is in there? How much sugar is in there? Like, what are we getting?
14 grams of protein in an 8-ounce glass and only 6 grams of sugar.
And
compared to 8 grams of protein and 12 grams of sugar in a traditional glass of milk.
A completely different experience. And I think what kind of sold me on Pioneer Pastures is I'm obviously not obviously, but I'm the smoothie girl, right? Like in 2012, I was like, we're all drinking sugar. You're drinking fruit mixed with coconut water topped with goji berries. They maybe put a tablespoon of like pea protein in your smoothie. This is like a metabolic disaster. It's a blood sugar roller coaster. And I had a number of people who'd be willing to make a Fab 4 smoothie and understand that whatever they're blending in their blender is that balance in their blender is the same balance they're going to experience in their blood. And so how can they balance those macronutrients? But I never found a protein shake like ready-made option that I could recommend. And it was always hard in the bar industry too, because most of the time they're using some like gelatinous, sugary, syrupy. It's a carb bar. Like even if there's protein in there, or you have like certain newer bars using like novel fats that are causing like GI distress, or a high dose of prebiotics or something it's just as an athlete too, when you need to fuel a lot or you need to get your protein intake in, it's hard to do that without something that's easy. And I would have people fall off the wagon because they like wouldn't have their breakfast. They'd be starving by lunch. They couldn't get the blender figured out. And it was a struggle. And then when I learned about your ready-made, I was like, wait, how does this work? 30 grams of protein, minimal ingredients. So can we talk about that? Because that became a resource for me, for my clients. Like the minute we spoke the first time and I learned about your ready-to-drink protein shakes and that they were available at Target, I had like 24 people I had to text and be like, remember when you used to ask me if you could drink Ensure? I have something for you. What is that product and how does that work?
Yeah. So most protein shakes, almost all the protein shakes in this country are just powders that have some type of seed oil in there to provide kind of mouthfeel and consistency that replicates dairy.
Right.
And something like a milkshake that people are used to, with oftentimes artificial sweeteners like ACE-K and sucralose, and then carrageenan as kind of an emulsifier to provide some type of, good mouthfeel. And we're the first ever who were taking kind of this ultra-filtered milk and then not using carrageenan, not using artificial sweeteners and gut-disrupting ingredients like that. So we're just concentrating. So compared to our milks, our pre-made protein shakes are just even more concentrated milk. Mm-hmm. So it's one ingredient. It's not powder, none of that. It's just milk, and it has 30 grams of protein in an 11-ounce serving. Yeah. So we start with kind of the actual milk, and then we have some of the cream in there from milk as well, and it's all natural ingredients to accompany that. So it's a very hard product to make, and we've probably thrown our first few production runs away just because most lines, kind of aseptic production lines are used to making powders and or A1 dairy, and they haven't been kind of made for A2 dairy. And it doesn't sound like a big difference, but when all these production lines have been made to more or less accommodate what has historically been done, and you introduce something new, is actually a kind of a big challenge to figure out.
Yeah. Wow. So how many different production, if you have to get things done in 48 hours, like how many different production facilities are you having to use across the states to like fulfill?
We've used 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not too bad. And I'm like imagining that you have like 12 across the United States or something. But okay, well, so I know you have your traditional milk cartons, and then you have a chocolate milk, and then the ready to drink product. When you think about like the 5-year plan or like the future and how you can get this clean protein in the hands of consumers, like what are you thinking, what in regards to like products, what are your dreams for Pioneer Pastures?
Yeah. Well, I think we're listening to what our customers are telling us right now, and accessibility continues to be a big word for us. And I'll give you a few examples. So we'll have specialized groups of people, maybe those who have Crohn's and colitis, that we've gotten inbounds from saying, this journey and search for food that I can tolerate is excruciating. And I found Pioneer Pastures, and now this has made my ability to get protein so much easier. And I've never been able to have dairy before. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We have parents who kind of have kids saying, my kid has behavioral issues, and I've given them your chocolate milk, and they've gotten a lot better. Like, that's awesome. We have older people, baby boomers, that are told by their doctors that they need to get more calcium in their diets, but they can't do it from supplementation. They're being told to get it from real foods, and we have higher amounts of calcium than normal milk. I play with a lot of football players of African descent that can't drink milk, and now they can have our milk. And you think about different pockets of the population that can now have milk again, it's pretty great. So from an accessibility standpoint, as I was saying earlier, I want to be everywhere that they shop. I want to be in everyone's coffee at the coffee shop. I want to be in every grocery store. I want to be in every gym. And we've been asked quite a bit, can you create this product line extension, or can you do this, or can you do that? If there's a reason for our A2 dairy to go into different kind of products, then I think you could probably in 5 to 10 years see us be in there. And ultimately, we started this because we want to be a mass health brand. And the bigger we get, then the more people that we feel like we're going to positively impact from a health perspective.
Well, even just getting your cartons of milk, the regular and the chocolate, or the ready-to-drink protein shakes across the nation, that's like a huge impact. But yeah, I mean, I have my wish list. I'd like a coffee creamer. I'd like some cottage cheese, and I'd like some Greek yogurt.
We could do that.
Okay.
What flavor coffee creamer?
I'm just a plainer of vanilla, like a sweet creamer of vanilla. Sounds good to me. I mean, I take the vanilla ready-to-drink protein shake, and if it's in my fridge, I'll use it as a coffee creamer. I've been known. Because I'm like, here we go. Just a little extra protein, a little vanilla. It's so creamy. It's like really decadent.
Yeah. I love it. The cottage cheese one's interesting. That was my breakfast in high school. Cottage cheese and peaches, or cottage cheese and pears every single morning.
Wow.
And to now see like it become a thing again is pretty funny.
That's how I announced that I was pregnant with Toshin, because my mom used to literally take like the pink container of Knudsen cottage cheese and just throw it on our kitchen table for dinners. It would be like, chicken, brown rice, iceberg salad. And then it would be like dunk cottage cheese on the center of the table. And I think I had it every single day at dinner. And my mom was, I grew up, my mom would put vitamin D milk in like a huge glass for all of us, And then the milk thing sort of like kind of grossed me out, and I kind of wasn't sure about it. And then everyone was like, dairy's really bad, all this A1 inflammation, and it's skin issues and acne, and like get off the dairy. And so I did. I spent years like just using almond milk and coconut milk or no milk, and there is something about like those pregnancy cravings where you're just like, watch it. And that was my number one craving. Pregnancy with all three was cottage cheese. Like it just
could have been worse.
It hit me. And when you look at like just the nutrition there, available protein, calcium, like even like the micronutrients, the minerals, like there's a lot of good nutrition there and solid protein that isn't it. Milk is and cheese, but like cottage cheese or yogurt, it's like a bland flavor too when you start to have those food aversions. And so, yeah, I put cottage cheese on the plate. People knew that I ate it throughout my pregnancy with Sebastian. And then I posted like what I would call like a health plate, some veggies, crudité, huge chunk of cottage cheese, rotisserie chicken. And someone's like in the comments, she's pregnant. Oh my God, she's pregnant. And I was, and I was just trying to see like, would they know? But I'm glad it's back, but I'm glad there's a differentiation between understanding like there are multiple types of dairy here, especially with a child. So Sebastian has dairy allergy. And it was something that we've worked really hard to desensitize him to. And now, we went to Europe and he was able to have like gelato and not break out with hives on his face or, eczema rashes in his joints. But most of the time we kind of keep him lean and mean and away from dairy. But I feel so differently about Pioneer Pastures because he shows no signs of allergies. And we don't have eczema rashes 48 to 72 hours after, which guaranteed if he's at a birthday party and he's like, please let me have the pizza, Mom. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, you're going to be itchy in 2 days, bud. Like this informed consent right now, we know. And he's like, I know. And then 2 days later, he's like, I wish I wouldn't have had it. And I'm like, okay, but he needs to experience that and know what the symptoms feel like, and to be able to start to build up his boundaries personally and say like, no, I don't want it.
Right.
But it's such a joy to be able to say like, oh, you can have this dairy. So yeah, I have a laundry list of things I need you to make me.
I love hearing that.
Yeah.
And we get a lot of these inbounds from people saying, I haven't had dairy in 7 years and I can drink this again. Like this is truly incredible.
Yeah.
And look, milk it's like this gift from nature. It's this perfect blend of protein and fats and vitamins and minerals. And the other aspect of it, and this is kind of a big driving force behind kind of why we did it, is we need real food.
Yeah.
And over half of the food that we consume in this country is ultra processed. And I just look at what these kids are eating. I'm like, oh my gosh, like bags and bags and bags. And you come to realize that so much of the food that we have today and the advice and the diets are based off of 1980s and 90s nutrition science and the food pyramid. And that's why you have 100-calorie snack packs or low-fat this or low-carb this. And it's like, how is this food actually being processed by the body? Yeah. What's it doing to our gut? Yeah. How's it impacting our microbiome? Yeah. What's it doing to our brains? Yeah. Our gut-brain axis? Like that's the type of stuff that really, if you have something real, like real dairy, that's a pretty powerful thing. It's more satiating. It's protein. Our 2-year-old probably has, he has still 2 bottles, probably too much, but 30 grams of protein from our milk every single day. I'm like, I know he's getting the protein he needs. Like,
he's going to crush it in football like his dad.
Better.
Yeah. So. Oh my gosh. Just like picturing him with like just a bicep up holding a bottle. Yes. I'm thrilled to introduce a brand I truly trust for anyone starting their journey to parenthood. It's called WeNatal. As a nutritionist, my number one recommendation for anyone trying to conceive or who's expecting is always to ensure your nutrient status is on point. And that starts with high-quality prenatal supplements. The truth is, many prenatal vitamins out there use ingredients that aren't bioavailable, meaning your body can't fully absorb or use them. Even with key nutrients like vitamin D, many formulas don't pack enough of a punch to make a real impact. And that's why I'm thrilled to share WeNatal with you. Their prenatal vitamins are carefully crafted with bioavailable ingredients like folate, choline, and iron to support both mom's health and baby's development. And here's something special. WeNatal offers a prenatal formula for men too. WeNatal for Men contains essential nutrients like zinc and CoQ10 to support sperm health and overall vitality. It's all about laying the right foundation for your family. Every ingredient is clean, science-backed, and third-party tested to ensure you're giving your growing family the absolute best. And here's an amazing offer for you. When you start any WeNatal prenatal subscription, you'll get a free 30-day supply of WeNatal's Omega-3 DHA Plus fish oil valued at $34.95. So visit WeNatal.com/Kelly today to claim your free Omega-3 DHA Plus while supplies last, because your family deserves the best from the very start. There is something to say about a child whose blood sugar is balanced, who's eating a whole food meal, that is getting the quantities of protein that their body needs to feel satiated, to grow. People don't even understand what proteins turn into. Like we digest them into amino acids and they make everything. Right. Muscles, hormones, neurotransmitters, the enzymes that break down the food that we're eating. Like it impacts the whole digestive process and the bioavailability of every nutrient that we consume. Mm-hmm. So for me personally, my kids know and poor Chris, my husband, is like, you got to eat some protein. And I'm like, we were at a birthday party this weekend and I was joking and I'm like, Sebastian, what do we look for on our plate? He's like, protein. They're like so annoyed with me already at such young ages. But I just feel like if even if the foundation is a B+ in our home, mm-hmm. by the time they get to college and they start like feeding themselves, they'll remember like what made them feel their best. Well, you've kind of taken a different trajectory. Obviously, you got really into nutrition and health, and then Owen was your first brand, and that was plant-based. Mm. Can we talk about like how your philosophy has changed over time when it comes to nutrition and what day in the life of you looks like when it comes to food for you and your family.
Yeah. The reason we started Owen was because I probably had more protein shakes than any human when I was playing football. I was drinking 2 or 3. I was 30 pounds heavier, like way stronger.
Can't even imagine.
Yeah, right. And I looked at the ingredients one day. I'm like, this is like, there's flame retardants as an ingredient. Like, there's such bad stuff in this.
Yeah.
And there's nothing else out there. And the idea behind Owen was, how can we create a protein shake that had no allergens in it? So it's top 9 allergen free. It had never been done before, a shelf stable, allergen free, plant-based product.
Yeah.
And we did it. It took 4 years to create it. And then we finally pulled it off. And we got some big tailwinds from other plant-based brands that had popped up and raised a ton of money and created awareness around kind of adjacent categories in meats and alternative meats. And in our set, there was nobody. It was us. And we had to convince manufacturers, hey, you can actually do this. Here's the kind of operating procedures to make this product. And we finally figured it out, and we had a lot of success with it, which I'm very happy about. And I was never plant-based necessarily. I ate plenty of meat and dairy. This was just a way for me to get extra protein. And also the realization that so many people have an inability to digest certain proteins or have allergens. And I learned a lot about just the allergen world, and to kind of hear about your son. And we've just seen so many of these different journeys along the way, and been to allergen-free conferences and things like that. And it's very personal. It's very personal to us. Even though we didn't have a food allergy, when you hear these stories and you realize, like, wow, like in many instances, this is life or death.
Yeah.
So it was that kind of reinforced like the magnitude of what we were doing, and it's kind of carried into what we're doing today as well. So that was kind of how that all started. And maybe my arc was when I would drink these kind of protein shakes back in the day, they were all dairy-based. And I don't know if it was because I was having so much of it or it was the wrong type. I just didn't feel great, but I had to do it. And in hindsight, it was the wrong dairy. I knew nothing about A1, A2 at the time.
Yeah.
Now I can drink 3 or so of these protein shakes a day. There's this GOMAD challenge, which stands for gallon of milk a day, which is like a very big thing in the bodybuilding world.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I've gotten a gallon, but I can take down a half gallon of our chocolate milk pretty easily in one day.
Wow.
No issues. So no bloating, no gas, no digestive challenges that I would have when I would previously kind of consume these protein shakes. And that was kind of a real eye-opener. It's like my idea of the type of protein impacting my gut and the ingredients was accurate, although what I didn't know that I don't now is it was the fact that it was A1 and not A2.
Yeah. Yeah, I think also what's interesting is like the more minimal your ingredients can be and the less processing you can have, like the more bioavailability, the better nutrition care. Like you're getting other things with that protein as well, which is what drew me to that ultra filtered, ready to drink protein shake, because I remember even like looking at my product journey as an entrepreneur, I never thought I would come out with like my own supplements or protein line at all. I obviously was a big proponent of like using the Fab4 formula to create a protein shake, and everyone would ask me like what to drink or what proteins to use. And I'd be like, well, if you want whey, I like these brands. If you want collagen, that's incomplete, but you can have these brands. If you want vegan, I'm using this pea protein or whatever. And it was more about not having allergens, and I always used like a single source protein. I wasn't doing blends very often. It was mostly like just a pea protein. Soy, rice, all that other stuff was kind of out the window at the time. But I remember also learning that it was like, it's from the ground, it's concentrated, it's going to suck up all those heavy metals and minerals from the ground. And then it has to be so highly processed to just extract the protein isolate, to know that like, oh, well, whey is just curds and whey and you remove the water and then all of a sudden you have like a clean powder. And to know that the animal is a filter for all of those things, like you're doing that, but even better.
Right.
Which is to say like protecting us from some of the things that, organically come from the soil, but getting that protein without that and really being able to hit those protein goals. So when it comes to like day in the life for you and your kids, obviously your son is crushing at two bottles, 30 grams of protein a day.
Yeah.
But how do you feed your family? And how do you guys like maintain like an active outdoor, like nutrition filled life?
Yeah. Breakfast used to be a complete battle zone for us. So my wife implemented something a year ago that I think has been very good. Every day of the week is something different. So like Monday, the kids know it's oatmeal and fruit. And Tuesdays is a special kind of toast with fruit.
Okay.
Wednesday, and so on and so forth. So every single day, and now the kids make it, oftentimes the ones they can make.
Yeah.
And so they're cracking eggs on Wednesday mornings and stirring it up. And so that's kind of been great. It's like eggs, dairy, so like yogurt, a lot of fruit, and so breakfast. And then for lunch, it's oftentimes we pack it for them. They're at school. Yeah. It's a quesadilla with some cheese. It's quinoa with avocado. It's chicken. It's turkey slices. It's kind of one, we call it the growing food. Yeah. The biggest compartment gets that. And then we kind of surround it with cut up cucumbers and tomatoes, and then snack, we'll throw them like one bone. We'll give them some kind of like healthier crackers or something like that they love, and some seaweed. Yeah. And then when they get home from school, they get a snack as well. And then dinner, we always sit down together as a family and eat dinner. And they're more often than not eating exactly what we're eating. So if it's fish, if it's chicken, if it's steak or something like that, that doesn't always work, but more often than not, like they kind of see what we're eating, and we try to at least make them have some of it, if not all of it. And then ultimately, it's been kind of a journey, and we try to do the best we can. It's hard. I mean, they're young kids. They'll go to someone else's house and be like, why can't we have this? Or they have this at this house, or I'm not eating. I'm going over to my friend's house and I'm going to eat dinner there. So often fights like that. Yeah. But I would say if there is kind of a junk food, we try to do a healthier version of that junk food. Yeah. Like the pizzas that they'll eat will be the least processed pizza and things like that.
Yeah, I think it's important. I mean, just that the basics are your foundation. I like the breakfast idea. What was the struggle of the breakfast prior to like the daily change up?
The decision.
Okay.
What am I going to have today? And then would give them the options. And it just became like, oh, I can have toast, or I can have oatmeal, or I can have cereal, or I can have eggs. And I think the decision-making process would just lead
short order chefs.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
And then just kind of fights nonstop. Oh, you just had that yesterday. I'm not going to have that again. So now it's just like, nope, you're going to have this on. And every single day, like you can ask both of our kids, the two that are old enough to tell you, they know exactly what's going to happen.
Breakfast on Tuesday.
They'll be able to tell you.
I think that's great. I think my struggle is less about like, you can have any of these things, and more about they're like, eggs again, smoothie again. Yeah. And we have like the Teton grass-fed beef sausages and like couple chicken sausages, and they're just like, meh, like it's the same and it's boring. So I think I might introduce that.
I highly advise it. And let them pick. They got to pick every day. It had to be something different. And then I think Sundays, whatever the heck they want type of thing. So
that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. And are you using Planet boxes? Is that the stainless steel box with the big compartment and all the little
I don't know what they're called, but yes. I think there's 4 or 5 compartments in there.
Yeah. That's our go-to too. The basics at home are easy. It's really like the stuff that your kids are getting outside of your control, or I would say like being offered without your informed consent, like post sports, at school. What's your community like in regards to like giving kids sugar, and how do you guys have boundaries around that?
Our schools have been pretty good, actually, but our youth sports have surprisingly not been very good. I just kind of look at what the parents are putting in these little bags after a game, and it's a juice box, and it's like jelly beans, and it's a fruit roll up. It's like, come on, guys. You look super fit as a parent. Like you care about your kids are out here doing sports. Like, why are we giving them? I think yesterday, our middle daughter in her bag after her soccer game I added 100 grams of sugar in that bag. I'm like, come on. And now we're the parents for like, just give me that bag. You're not consuming this. But it just.
I'm so passionate about that specific problem. And I've told you about it, but my third book is called Sweet Deal. And it's basically a parents' pact. No sugar in schools, no sugar in sports, no sugar in sanctuaries, or, I think churches, temples, places where it should be about building a relationship with God, building a relationship with your, like with your teammates, and like your body composition, and like being a team player and learning a new skill, or like learning, because all of those things are impacted by sugar. But I did some sugar math for it for my sports chapter, because on average, these children are given 30 grams of sugar. So when you think about those bags after after sports.
Right.
Not only is that like bag totally exceeding all caloric burn, and I'm not a calories person, especially for kids, but it's exceeding their like daily sugar allotment. And adults are supposed to have 25 grams of sugar a day, but there's like no real discrepancy after 2. People are like, oh yeah, 25 grams of sugar a day. But for like a 6-year-old, that's a massive dose. And if your child is active, like, I mean, my boys at sometimes in seasons play more than one sport. Like right now we're in flag football and we're in soccer. But if your child just plays 3 sports a year, and on average it's between 8 and 12 games a season, so let's say 10 times 30 grams of sugar times 3 sports, we're talking over 1,000 grams of added sugar that shouldn't be served up to your child. Yeah. And it's so backwards because it started when we were kids, but it's based on a participation award. Like people started to feel bad, wanted to bribe the children to come to the sport. So like, you're going to get a treat bag after, but also thanks for playing. Even if you had a bad game, here's a bag of sugar. And we've lost the plot. Right. Like it's not, we're lowering internal motivation and we're incentivizing, bribing, and rewarding things that we should feel really proud about growing and learning to do, which is like, breaks my heart, you know? And so when you think about, okay, that's just sports. And then you go to schools and you're talking about 2 chocolate milk cartons a day plus whatever, depending on that school's philosophy or like their boundaries, their rules, you're either including birthday treats and snacks, reward sugars from school teachers, from school coaches, like just in school, outside of like the lunch program.
It's bad.
So how are we gonna get Pioneer Pastures chocolate milk across the nation into schools?
It's very fragmented. We're trying hard. We're kind of understanding the landscape, and we're trying to figure out how do we kind of, from a distribution standpoint, do this. We have the product. We have the available product. We can make it in these little 8-ounce cartons that you put into schools. One of the big challenges is right now, it's a cost consideration. They're putting the cheapest possible milk that you can possibly get in there, and that's not what's best for our kids. And we've talked to some school districts, and they're I'm going to mess up the numbers, and you probably know them better than I do, Kelly, but let's say a school district has $1.35 to spend on a kid for lunch. Yeah. And they're kind of going through the math. They're like, how in the world can I spend half of that on a carton of milk? Because I have to have a protein, I have to have a veggie, and veggies are oftentimes considered pizza. Yeah. And then a whole grain is a bag of whole grain Cheetos. Like the math and the calculus for this thing is so skewed, and we're just spending so little on school programs that's a kind of a big hurdle for us that we have to come over, because A2 milk costs more than non-A2 milk, and it's always going to be a little bit more expensive. So we have to find a way to get funding for schools to be able to make better options and better choices for our kids.
Yeah. Have you had any traction with specific schools getting your chocolate milk into their programs at all?
We've talked to some, but it tends to be more of like the private schools. And as you look at the macro level, like those kind of encompass such a small portion of like the entire population. I'd say from a taste perspective, kids very much have dictated the taste of our chocolate milk, because we always have little kids at our house, and anytime they come over, they know they're going to have to try something and give us feedback on what do you like about this chocolate milk or this one. We have all these different variations of it, and our kids taste it as well. So we feel like it's pretty well positioned from a taste perspective, that it's going to resonate well with the schools. Now, just more of kind of from an administrative and a distribution standpoint, can we actually pull it off?
Yeah. What can we do as a community to support you to kind of get the word out for Pioneer Pastures? And like, what would you want the listener to know about your product specifically?
It's a great question. I think the biggest thing is awareness, and just in general, why people should not worry about dairy and why they should consume our dairy. And also that not all dairy is created the same. I think that we're the first ever to ultra filter milk from A2 cows. Yeah. It's never been done before. And what does that mean? It means it has a higher protein level, a lower sugar level. We have no added sugar. And these are ingredients these are natural as can be, and it's never been kind of done. So we just need people to understand that this brand, Pioneer Pastures, really wants to change the health of this country and has the product and the people behind it to do it.
Yeah. So when you think about your competitors, if it's never been done before, like who are your consumers that don't know that you exist? Like, what are they buying right now, and why would they be like buying those other brands?
Well, I would say either they're not consuming dairy at all
Yeah.
right now, and maybe they've gone to kind of more of the plant-based world.
We're coming back.
So we
Pregnancy by pregnancy. Yeah.
we want them back. So once kind of the pendulum, we're seeing the pendulum shifting back as well, away from kind of this awareness around, do I really want this plant-based thing, these milks that don't have much nutrition and have all these seed oils for taste and emulsifier, no nutrition value, to something that actually, this is a single source protein. It's a complete protein.
Yeah.
There's no powders added. It's just milk, real milk from real cows.
Yeah.
We need that narrative told. We need real, not ultra processed. So that's kind of one, bringing people back. And then two, checking them off of other things into ours. So are they having kind of unhealthy snacks after school? We'll give them our chocolate milk because this is going to be way more nutritious for them. It's going to give them the protein that they may not have had during the school day that they desperately need without this huge kind of insulin spike.
Yeah.
So those are kind of things that we feel like, let's get the word out. And then there's kind of, on the pre-made protein shakes, a big cohort of people that care about performance and athletic performance, and will kind of be known within those communities. But the moms are ones that really can kind of control a lot of what comes into our homes. And the more moms that know that we exist, then the more that our kids are going to benefit from it.
Definitely. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm so excited about the future, and I feel like easy to get your hands on protein is especially needed in today's day and age, because you have, whether it be peptides like GLP-1s or people using, wanting to have body composition changes and using extreme diets, or, name the cause. But like, if you're looking for a body composition change and you've seen everyone's protein needs go up and people really stressing protein lately, like how do you think your product can really support kind of everyone on their journey to hit their protein goals or change their body composition? And like, how often should someone be drinking your protein shakes and or your milk?
A lot. The GLP-1's a good one because it's obviously weight loss. And when you lose weight, you don't just lose fat, you lose a lot of muscle mass. And I think one of the areas that a lot of people who are on GLP-1s need to be very mindful of is not losing muscle mass and consuming the protein and the creatine that's kind of needed to maintain muscle mass. Because especially as you get older, when you lose muscle mass, it's not good.
Yeah.
It's hard to get back, and it just kind of leads to a lot of health issues down the road. And then also on top of that would just be kind of bone density is something that we're just seeing more and more of, in particular with women. I think there's 10 million women in this country with osteoporosis, 40 million have low bone density. Our milk has way more calcium than normal milk, just because of the concentration of proteins and minerals. So the health kind of fallout from weight loss and not maybe consuming as much as someone had consumed historically means that they're probably not getting enough of what they actually do need, i.e. protein and some of these important minerals and vitamins.
This is a very specific question. You may not know the answer to it, but do you know your leucine content per cup of your milk?
I don't know it offhand, but I do know that with my previous company, that was a question we got about leucine, because there was 20 grams of protein was needed for 2 grams of leucine.
Yeah.
And that was this whole made up thing by the bodybuilding world, and kind of this like the essential amino acids, the leucine, isoleucine, and valine.
Yeah.
It's like the 2-1-1 ratio was kind of like this very important kind of ratio for optimal muscle growth. I don't know it offhand. I know in our protein shakes we have more than 2 grams of leucine, but in terms of our actual milk, I'll have to get back to you on that.
Well, I know that it's a complete protein, and I know that dairy specifically naturally has like the best leucine ratio to other amino acids. And I know when someone's looking for muscle protein synthesis activation that isn't triggered by weightlifting, that you can do it through food. I have an essential amino acid product on my line, and that leucine content is what drives muscle protein synthesis through just consuming the product alone. And I know the only thing that they always compare essential amino acids to is dairy or whey specifically, because that is the gold standard when it comes to muscle protein synthesis from consumption of some type of food product. So I just in thinking about someone trying to change their body composition and using your protein shakes, I had told people, like the clients that I have who don't want to make their own smoothies, 1 to 2 of them a day, because I feel like if we can get them lifting weights like 2 to 3 times a week, I normally work with women, but like 2 to 3 times a week, and I can get them at least having that muscle protein synthesis trigger through a food product once a day, like that I can support them in that journey,
Terrific.
So that's been my recommendation, but I wasn't sure if you knew specifically.
Well, it's interesting as you look back historically, like in the 70s, like when bodybuilding became a thing, the recovery drink was chocolate milk.
Yeah.
And so we have all these, it's kind of it's full circle. Now we have all these bodybuilders drinking our chocolate milk. And I'm not going to say you're going to get jacked as you drink our chocolate milk, but it's the most natural kind of form of protein. To your point, what's the kind of way to get the right amino acids from a complete source that's not kind of adulterated in any way? Yeah. So we see a lot of these bodybuilders trying to drink, a gallon a day type of thing.
It's crazy. So when you're in production and you have to like milk your cows and ultra filter and bottle it within 48 hours, like what's the reasoning for that? And then like how long does it last? Because you obviously have your protein shakes shelf stable at Target.
Yeah.
And then you have your cartons in a refrigerator. Like, does it need to be refrigerated? Does it not? Like, what's the deal?
It's a good question. So the reason we have to do it in such a short amount of time is because milk just goes bad. And if you're not treating it with anything, then you have to put it in a bottle. And if you look at different parts of the world, in particular like Europe, you mentioned kind of your trip to Europe and how your son could have some different dairy over there, but maybe not here. Well, there's a processing technique that is kind of originated in Europe that allows for shelf-stable milk. So you'll see way more shelf-stable milk than you will in Europe than you will kind of here.
Yeah.
So it all goes back to the processing of it. So our protein shakes are processed in a way that the bacteria is killed, so there's not going to be any growth, and we can put it in a shelf-stable environment. It's a different process that we're doing for our larger format products where we have to have a shelf life of, I want to say it's maybe 90 days.
Okay, cool.
Has to be refrigerated so nothing can grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think both products serve a different need, and having that stability of being able to like keep it in, like I have them in my garage and I'll just like grab one if I know I'm going to have a day like this where I have like 4 back-to-back interviews or I have meetings and calls and soccer practice and football practice. And I'm just like, okay, put my own oxygen mask on. And I was crazy. I like posted it once I got my hands on the ready to drink and I posted it, then like my DMs were flooded. They're like, wait a second, you're drinking like a processed protein shake? And I'm like, ingredients, next slide.
Yeah, No, that's a great question. We get asked that a lot. And it's just a very common thing in other parts of the world and not as common to have kind of shelf-stable milk here.
Yeah.
It's kind of like eggs. You go to South America and your eggs aren't in the refrigerator and, here everyone puts their eggs in the fridge. So
yeah, my farmer's market eggs are not in the refrigerator. They, he's just got them out on the table. And then my husband's always like, you're going to put those in the fridge, right? And I was like, he says, he told me that I don't need to. So and it weirds him out. So I put him in the fridge anyway.
For sure.
It's just part of the program.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I'm like so excited about this because I think about, my mom has osteopenia. I think about, the differences in moms today versus like when we were growing up. Like it wasn't very popular. Maybe there was like a jazzercise class, but it wasn't very popular for women to be like lifting heavy, building lean muscle mass, focusing on like load and like their strength training programs. But we're having babies later. We're also having, we're trying to have as many as our grandparents, but like we're having multiple kids back to back. Our nutrition, takes a hit, and we're busier than our parents ever were with smartphones and multiple sports, and just it's a lot. So I just want to acknowledge you for bringing a product to market that supports all of that and supports moms specifically and helps us support our kids. So if you could wave a magic wand and impact the American families across the states, what would you tell moms to do differently to support their kids?
Well, I think you highlighted that the struggle for moms is harder now than it ever has been because of all the demands where you still have kind of oftentimes the traditional demands, but then you're layering on top like modern demands. So that's a reality. And I would say if we could just, and a big part of why we did this is my wife works with me. She's my co-founder. She was a professional athlete. She's kind of like knew this whole world. And now she's trying to work and get her kids here or there. And I just see how hard it is to kind of maintain proper nutrition, and also how easy it is to kind of fall off and just do something because it's convenient or easy. And if we can continue to grow our brand and have products in the hands of people that need it when they need it, then we're going to make everyone's job a lot easier to kind of give their kids healthy options, and we'll feel a lot better about it.
Yes. Keep going. Yeah. Keep going, Jeff. I'm so excited. It's awesome. I never thought I would be having a dairy founder on the podcast, let alone being like, can I please invest in your brand? This is so amazing. It tastes good. And my children who have allergies can have it. It's just like, it's awesome. And if you can just get your chocolate milk into schools across the US, just think about that. Like, if someone's relying on 2 cartons a day and they're having 50 grams of sugar before noon, like that's impacting their learning, their retention, their mood, their energy levels. Like, I mean, just the natural desire for a child to run and play and be active, like all of that's being impacted.
Big time.
Their taste buds, what they're gravitating towards, what they want later in the day, like, we have a big job to do, but I'm excited to help you do it and hopefully get the product into the hands of everyone who needs it. So thank you for all of your hard work and for building this brand, even though it's like the hardest industry. It means a lot, and I'm just really excited to be a champion for it.
Thanks for your support, Kelly.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Where can people follow along? Where can they find the product, most importantly?
We're in Target nationwide. We're in Sprouts. We're on Amazon. And we're at pioneerpastures.com.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Be Well by Kelly LeVeque podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please consider leaving a review in your favorite podcast app and subscribing on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. We're also excited to share that full-length video episodes are now on YouTube and Spotify, so you can watch along as you listen. The best way to support me and the show is by sharing it with your friends and family. Your recommendations make all the difference. This is a Wellness Loud production produced by Drake Peterson. The video is recorded by Luke Rodriguez and edited by Jesse Trout. Sound mixing is by Mike Fry. See you next time.
The content of this show is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not a substitute for individual medical or mental health advice and does not constitute a provider-patient relationship. As always, talk to your doctor or healthcare team first. Shout out to the Newport Beach Pendry for hosting us. I'm so grateful to record in such a beautiful space that truly elevates the podcast experience for myself and my guests. From the stunning design to their incredible hospitality, it's a perfect setting for meaningful conversations and creative energy. Hey, thanks, Pendry.